Hello friends, Intuitive Rene here, bringing you another show of deck, really. It's not quite an unboxing because I have used it already. I have worked with it already, but I have now just put it back together in its original positioning so that I could show you. And this is the deck that I want to show you. So this is one that I've had for a while. This is one you would have seen me work with on my channel quite extensively. It is the Radiant Wise Spirit Tarot. Really such an awesome deck for those of you who are wanting to get into tarot, for those of you who are wanting to get started. This is really such an awesome deck. And as you would have seen on my channel, I'm on a bit of a mini kick at the moment. I am trying to get as many decks as I can, and this is the latest one to my collection. So I'm not going to do a complete flip through because, you know, these are just, I'm going to call them traditional standard symbols or pictures, imagery, but I wanted to do a comparison between the standard size and the mini. And this one is standard tarot size. So the Radiant Wise Spirit Tarot is by Lo Scarabeo. That is the creator, and on this one as well, it's also Lo Scarabeo. And the differences between the two boxes is that this one opens, the little lid comes off, and there is the cards and the book, whereas this one lifts, pulls the top off the bottom like that. But otherwise they have a similar feel to them, a similar look to them, and they really just are a mini version of the standard. So as I said, I'm not going to do a complete walkthrough, but I just wanted to show you what you get in the boxes, make sure that you can still see those, and to see how it works, so you can decide if you need the mini or if you need the regular size. So you can see in my regular size we have a guidebook, and it is quite a nice guidebook, and then we have the cards. And here in the mini you do get a little white book, but it really is just a little white book, and then you get the cards. So let's take them all out of the boxes. I'm going to put the boxes aside. Let's take these out of the boxes, put the boxes aside, and let's have a look and see what we have. The comparisons really between the two. So regular size, let's have a look at the regular size book. So as I said to you, it is quite a nice chunky book. It has got color on the inside. Let's see what it has. I want to always find a table of contents. First of all, typical with Lo Scarabeo, we do have multiple languages. We've got English, Italian, Spanish, French, and Portuguese, which is quite nice, which means that, you know, it is applicable to many more people around the world. And here we have published in 2019, this particular edition. And then obviously we go straight into the English version. So it says this deck was created by Arthur Edward Waite and illustrated by Pamela Coleman Smith, first published in 1909. It is the perfect tarot for any sort of reading, including divination, enlightenment, spirit communication, guidance, and empowerment. So it is really based off the original RWS tarot. So it gives you how to read the tarot by telling storytelling, fate, fortune, destiny versus hindsight, insight, and foresight, how to ask questions, card meanings, whether to use reversals or not, the structure of the tarot, which is quite nice. It gives you a little bit of numerology kind of insight, which is lovely. We've got some spreads, 1 card, 3 cards, Celtic cross, you know, the standard. And then it goes into the actual cards themselves. So here is the information for the Fool, for example. So we've got, call it a substantial paragraph, and then this tiny little one is for the reversed, and then a substantial paragraph for Magician, and a tiny little one for reversed. So it does, and it's the same even when we get to the minors. Okay, so the guidebook for a beginner, for somebody starting out, is sufficient. It's not fabulous, but it is sufficient. All right, let's have a look at the little guidebook for the mini edition. So again, it tells you it's Arthur Edward Waite, line art by Pamela Coleman Smith. This one was published in sorry, I realize you can't see that. Let's get it into focus. Published in 2020 by Lo Scarabeo. Okay. So then we have a spread over there. Finding the purpose. Again, different languages. Actually, let's just zoom in so that you can see the different languages. So you can see, like for English, we've got 5 pages. You know, for Italian, we've got 5 pages. So you're gonna see that the guidebook is not going to be great. So finding the purpose, and then we go straight into the actual interpretations. It is minuscule. It is tiny. the writing, and you literally, for the Fool, you're getting, let's call it 1.5 lines. For the Magician, 1 and a bit lines, and there's no reversal information. So the mini book, you really need to have some kind of an understanding on tarot in order to work with it, and then it goes straight into the other languages. So that is the mini, right? With both of them, we do get the art card, or you do get the title card, however you want to call it. So the Radiant wise, there's the art card, that's the backs of them. This is for the mini, the art card with the back. So let's have a look at the back. So again, you can see there's a bit of similarity. The main difference between these two decks, borderless, bordered, okay? Yeah, if you've been following my channel, been following me for a while, you will know my preference. My preference is borderless. I'm not a fan of borders, especially white borders. Black borders I can sort of handle, pretty borders I can sort of handle, but these white borders that are so big and bold are a little bit of a problem for me. But you can see we have the standard backs, which are very, very pretty. Okay, then we get into the cards themselves, and I mean, I'm sure you can immediately see why borderless is so much nicer. What I do like about the mini version of this is that the coloring is exactly the same. You know, the imagery is exactly the same. It's just, you can see the difference that the white border makes. I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit, just to get the imagery a little bit clearer for you. There we go. As I said, I'm not going to do a complete flip through. I don't want to you know, spend all day just going through the two decks and flipping card by card, but I just wanted you to see the differences. So we will just do a couple of them so that you can see the differences. We don't lose any clarity with the smaller deck, okay, which is nice. It is still very clear. It is still very easy to see all the fine detail as it is in the bigger card. So the benefit of the small card, what I like to do with the minis is I use them for my TarotScopes, because then I do like to have a lot of cards on the screen. So the minis are really great for that. And the other way that I use the minis is as clarifiers. So if I did a spread for myself or for a client using the standard sized tarot, any tarot deck, doesn't have to be the matching pair. If I did a spread using a standard deck and I wanted a bit of clarifier, I wanted a little bit more information, the mini ones are nice because they can slot in almost anywhere. So there we have the High Priestess. There we have the Empress. And the Empress is normally quite a busy card, but again, with the little one, you don't really lose too much information, which is really, really great. Just to zoom out again, if we did actual size comparison, putting the two together, so if I put the corners together, just make sure it's in focus, you can see it is quite substantially small. If we do it on the back, because it might be easier then with the borders, you can see it is actually quite a substantial size difference. But other than that, they are really, really quite awesome. Okay, so I love the minis. I find, let's get the full size out of the way. I haven't edged mine yet, as you can see, and I don't know if I'm going to edge this particular one because I quite like this pattern that comes through because of the backs. I quite fancy that. And I must say the cardstock is just amazing. This cardstock is really, really good. You see this pattern? I quite enjoy that pattern. All right, so I'm going to get that one out of the way, and let's now have a look at the mini. So the mini, I'm going to get the art card out there, or the title card. So we don't get that pretty pattern on the sides because we have the white border. Oh, sorry, there is just another art card, the Los Garibio advertising card. So you don't get a pretty border here. So I may trim this. I may take these white borders off because they are a bit of a problem for me. I will keep the titles across the bottom. That was the other thing that I did actually want to show you, is the only other problem with this particular deck is that they haven't used Pixie's font. Okay, we've got just ordinary computer font across the bottom. We don't have the original Pixie font in the writing, so that may be a deal breaker for some, because I know that there are some of us who really do enjoy that. But you can see in my little hands, they fit quite nicely. To shuffle them is quite easy. And when you're laying them out on the table, it is quite easy to see. So that's why I really do enjoy the mini decks. And I will be using these mini decks for my TarotScopes that I do once a week on a Monday. And I like to use them as clarifiers in other readings, which is really nice. So just to shuffle, overhand shuffle is really easy. simple. I must say the cardstock is quite great. So they are a little bit slippery, but not excessively slippery. So if you're not a bad shuffler like me, you should cope quite fine. I haven't tried to riffle the minis, I must be honest, but then I don't know if we really need to shuffle a mini deck. Surely overhand is quite, you can see how bad I am. I'm such a bad shuffler. But you can see it shuffles really, really well. Let's try doing a riffle. And hopefully I don't make a complete mess. Look at that. Actually riffles really well. That's actually quite nice. Quite nice, quite easy. They go back together quite nicely. So yes, this is the mini Radiant Wise Spirit. It is quite an inexpensive deck, as are most of the minis, so definitely worthwhile to get if you are wanting to work with mini decks. So friends, that was just a short little one to show you the difference between the standard Radiant Wise Spirit and the mini. I do hope you've enjoyed my little video, and I will see you again soon. Lots of love. Take care.